Now, if you fancy bagging yourself a Google handset at the arse end of 2022, you've basically got a choice of three. You got the fresh new Pixel 7 flagship duo, otherwise the mid-range marvel, the Pixel 6a. And of course, your choice may be heavily dictated by your budget, because the Pixel 7 Pro ain't exactly cheap at 849 quid. Pixel 7 bit more affordable at £599. But the best value here is definitely coming out of the Pixel 6a, which costs just 349 quid. But which one is actually best for you? Well, let's do a full side-by-side comparison now. Check out the camera, tech, the gaming chops, everything that matters. And for more on the latest and greatest tech, please do plug subscribe and ding that notifications bell. Cheers! So first up, stick this Pixel trio side by side, and there is a clear size difference going on. The Pixel 7 Pro is an almighty whopper at 6.7 inches. Meanwhile, the Pixel 7 and 6a are much more closely matched. They're actually quite compact for 2022 smartphones. Pixel 7 has a 6.3 inch screen. That's reduced to a 6.1 inch on the 6a, but the dimensions are very, very similar because you've got big, thick bezels surrounding that screen here on the 6a. So if you're all about the hand feel and easy one-handed use, then these two are going to be better suited to you, although you do at least get a one-handed mode on all three of these phones to really help out in a pinch. The Pixel 7 and 7 Pro have Gorilla Glass Victus coating their displays, which is more shatterproof than the Gorilla Glass 3 that you'll find on the Pixel 6a, but can also be quite vulnerable to scratching, so I would recommend slapping a screen protector on all the same. On the edges, you've got aluminium here on the Pixel 7 Pro and the Pixel 7, although this has a shiny glossy finish on the Pro and a matte finish on the regular Pixel 7, which I prefer because it gets less grimy and greasy. And then on the Pixel 6a, you've got a metal alloy edging, and again, it's a matte finish, so it stays in pretty good nick. Now flip these pixels over and you've once again got Gorilla Glass Victus here on the 7 Pro and the regular 7 as well, whereas it's more of a plasticky kind of vibe here on the Pixel 6a. However, it is a shiny finish on all three, and Google has done a really good job with the Pixel 6a, making it look and feel similar to the more expensive flagships. I do like the two-tone finish here on the Pixel 6a as well, but the Pixel 7's camera housing much sexier. I really do love that metal band, which just blends seamlessly in with the edging as well, really nicely constructed. That said, the camera bands on the Pixel 7 and the Pixel 7 Pro do jut out further from the arse end, which means you get more crap and crud embedded in these nasty little corners here, which you then have to dig into with your fingernails to try and scrape it all out. And Google is offering these three Pixel phones in a choice of just three colours each. You've got a fairly inoffensive black and white on all of them. Otherwise, you can also pick up the 7 Pro in hazel, the regular 7 in lemongrass, and the Pixel 6a comes in sage. And more good news if you're a bit of a klutz, bit of a butterfingers, because as well as all that Gorilla Glass shenanigans, you've also got an IP rating for water and dust resistance. IP67 on the 6a, slightly upgraded to IP68 on the Pixel 7 and Pixel 7 Pro. What that means is all three of them can be submerged quite happily in a sink, in a bath, something like that, as long as you don't just piddle about and leave it in there, actually take it out, dry it off, they should all be absolutely fine. So perhaps unsurprisingly, as these are Google smartphones, they are all running the latest greatest Android 13. And they all come with guaranteed years of security updates and OS upgrades as well, so you are covered for the long haul. So yeah, jump on into the smartphone settings, and unsurprisingly, it's basically the same layout on all three of these bad boys. You've got that lovely material style theming where you can change up the UI colors based on your wallpaper. You've got the themed icons now as well. All the same great privacy features stuffed away in all of them, and security features as well. They've all got the Titan M2 on board, so you can securely store away all of your biometrics. And speaking of biometrics, yes, it is an in-display fingerprint sensor on all three of these Pixels, which initially had me a little bit concerned because the in-display fingerprint sensors on last year's Pixel 6 phones was kind of balls. But thankfully, no such problems on this fresh new trio. The in-display fingerprint sensor is just an optical effort once again, but it works absolutely flawlessly. I say flawlessly, obviously, if your hands are a bit damp or a bit mucky, then chances are you won't get recognized. In which case, with the Pixel 6a, you'll probably have to just tap your pin in. But with the Pixel 7 and Pixel 7 Pro, Google has finally added a bit of face unlock action. So you can just tap that power button, it'll scan your mug, and eventually, hopefully, get you in there. As for the rest of the Android features, you've got all the classic bangers on here, like the live captioning, of course. You've got the usual digital well-being shenanigans, and in good old bedtime mode, the Pixels can now even do a bit of snore and cough detection while you're having your kip. And Google has also intriguingly mentioned that it's working on a VPN feature to be baked into Google One, which should be coming to the Pixel 7 and Pixel 7 Pro. There wasn't any direct mention of the Pixel 6a, but hopefully, fingers crossed, it'll come to that too. So it's time, people, brace yourself for some sexy specs, starting with storage. And all three of these Pixel smartphones come with a base 128 gigs of room. Here on the Pixel 7 flagships, you've also got a 256 gig option, while the Pixel 7 Pro even offers up a half a terabyte option. However, there is no support for microSD expansion of that storage, unfortunately, so if you do tend to do a lot of downloading or capturing a lot of photos and videos, you'll want to try and bump up that storage if your budget will allow. And furthermore, there is only space in the SIM tray on all three of these smartphones for a single solitary lonely little SIM card, although at least all three do offer eSIM support as well. So now let's chat display tech, and as you work your way down the price list, that screen does shrink from the 6.7 incher here on the Pixel 7 Pro to a 6.3 incher on the regular Pixel 7, and then finally a 6.1 incher on the Pixel 6a. It is OLED tech on all three, so you do get full HDR streaming support, nice sharp contrast, deep blacks, punchy poppy colors, but you can dial that back a bit in the display settings if you want to. It's a Quad HD Plus resolution on the Pro model, 3120 by 1440, so super sharp to suit that enormous display. Definitely a great one for movie lovers. That said, I would happily kick back with a flick on either the Pixel 7 or the Pixel 6a as well. You got a standard Full HD Plus resolution on both of them, 2400 by 1080. Technically, the Pixel 6a's screen is actually sharper than the Pixel 7's, as it is slightly smaller. And the Pixel 7 Pro's screen can dial up a little bit brighter than the other two here, but again, I had no problems with outdoor visibility on the regular Pixel 7 or that 6a. And in those display settings, you'll see the smooth display option here on the Pixel 7 Pro and the regular Pixel 7. This is to do with the refresh rate, which can be boosted all the way up to 120Hz here on the Pro model and 90Hz on the Pixel 7. To be honest, my buggered, knackered old eyes can't really tell the difference between the two. They're both silky smooth. Unfortunately though, no smooth display option on the Pixel 6a, which does top off at 60Hz, and you do notice that flipping around the UI and stuff like that, just not quite as smooth on this one. As for the audio, well, it is a stereo speaker setup on all three of these Google Pixel smartphones, and all three of them can absolutely blast you right in the mug with really loud sound. It's decent quality too, it's not too tinny or anything like that. You do not have any headphone jack action on any of these Pixels, unfortunately, but you do have flawless Bluetooth streaming. Now, the Pixel handsets are quite unique in that they're the only smartphones to rock Google's own Tensor chipset co-crafted with Samsung. It's the older Tensor G1 on the Pixel 6a, but that's been upgraded to the fresh new Tensor G2 here on the Pixel 7 and Pixel 7 Pro. And as you might expect, the more money you spunk out at Google, the more memory you get as well. 6 gigs of DDR5 RAM on the Pixel 6a, that's upgraded to 8 gigs on the Pixel 7 and 12 on the Pixel 7 Pro. The Pixel 6a can play the likes of Genshin Impact and more demanding Android titles as long as you keep them on the lower detail settings. Here on the Pixel 7 and the Pixel 7 Pro, I have noticed some frame drops if you do try and push those graphic settings up to the higher levels, but I am hoping that with a bit of tweaking and optimization over the next sort of month or so, these little issues will be resolved. After all, that Mali GPU that's stuffed inside is supposed to be 20% more efficient and more powerful compared with the older G1. And all three of these smartphones also boast Google's Game Dashboard feature, which can help you to record the action, stream it online, and block notifications you aren't pestered by your mum when you're in the middle of a fragathon. As for the battery shenanigans, well, the Pixel 6a actually sports a slightly bigger cell than the Pixel 7, 4,410 mAh versus 4,355. But the Pixel 7 Pro's of course got them both beat, as it's an absolute monster with its 5,000 mAh cell. Now, I've been using the Pixel 7 Pro as my full-time smartphone for a few days now, and I've got to say the battery life is not fantastic on it. I'll just about scrape through a full day of use on a full charge, and this is a big mother fricker as well. With that massive battery, I was really hoping for better performance, but as I say, it's early days. The software probably needs a bit more optimization, a bit more tweaking via a couple of updates before it actually goes on sale. And it's also probably worth mentioning that I've basically got all the major Billy Big Bollock features switched on, so it's at 120Hz, it's running a Quad HD Plus resolution full time, so that's probably not going to help the battery life much. And Pixel 7 has a smaller battery, but also seems to drain at a slower rate, helped by the fact that it's a Full HD screen, not Quad HD, it's 90Hz instead of 120Hz, etc. but I will reserve judgment until I slap my SIM in there and use it full time. And meanwhile, the Pixel 6a, I've had no issues with that whatsoever. Hours and hours of screen on time from a single charge, no worries. But when it comes to recharging, the Pixel 6a easily the weakest of the bunch. It's only 18-watt wired charging versus 30-watt wired charging on the Pixel 7 flagship smartphones. And also, the 7 and the 7 Pro can charge wirelessly, whereas you don't get that option on the Pixel 6a. Now, the Pixel 7 and 7 Pro both sport the same 50 meg Octa PD Quad Bayer camera sensor as last year with optical image stabilization. Whereas the Pixel 6a sports the older 12.2 megapixel dual pixel camera sensor, again with optical image stabilization found on previous flagships. Now, the great thing about Pixel smartphones and their camera tech is the fact that they are point and shoot demons. Generally just sort of vaguely aim them in the direction of your subject and then tap that shutter button, and chances are 9 out of 10 times at least you will get a good looking shot. If you need to, you can tweak the brightness levels, the contrast and the color temperature, but that's pretty much it as far as the Pro controls go. Now, the truth is, as far as photo quality goes, there's not really much at all between the 7 series and that cheaper 6a. You've got slightly more accurate color reproduction on the Pixel 7 and the 7 Pro, but the 6a can capture roughly the same amount of detail as those flagships because the 7 and 7 Pro use pixel binning. In lower light, the Pixel 7 phones do produce a little less noise than the 6a, but again the difference is surprisingly small thanks to Google's excellent night mode and general software smarts. And all three of these phones are great in HDR style situations. You do also have a 12 megapixel ultra wide angle shooter on all three of these Pixel smartphones, and this does a great job if you want a more dramatic pulled back shot, you just want to try and fit more into frame, whatever. And on the Pixel 7 Pro, this actually has a built-in autofocus, so you can use it for macro snaps if that's your bag. However, the Pro does have one advantage over the other Pixel smartphones, and that is its 48 megapixel telephoto shooter with optical image stabilization capable of 5 times optical zoom. This makes a serious difference when you are zooming in, especially as the Pro can get you much closer, maxing out at a 30 times zoom level, while the others top off at 7 or 8 times zoom. And frankly, when you do hit those maximum zoom levels on the Pixel 7 and 6a, you end up with something that's more akin to a watercolor as painted by a slightly demented 6-year-old child. Now, the new Pixel 7 smartphones do boast a couple of bonus camera modes that are fresh and new, including the motion mode, which is great if you're trying to capture a living, breathing subject like a hyperactive kid off their tits on Haribo or a pet. You've also got the fresh new cinematic mode as well, which is a way of capturing video with a bokeh style background effect. But for your home movies, all three of these Pixels can shoot up to 4K resolution footage at 30 or 60 frames per second. And no matter your choice, you'll be able to shoot good looking home movies with respectable stabilization, even at that Ultra HD level, strong audio pickup as well, so yeah, all good. And then last up, flip to those front facing cameras and you've got a 10.8 megapixel selfie shooter here on the Pixel 7 Pro and the Pixel 7. That is a more basic 8 megapixel effort here on the Pixel 6a. And again, there's not really much between them. Let's face it, Google blows are not the best when it comes to selfies, so if you're an Instagrams fan, you might want to look elsewhere maybe. And there you have it, you lovely buggers. That in a nutshell is the Pixel 7 and Pixel 7 Pro flagship smartphones compared with the much more affordable, good value Pixel 6a smartphone. So which one are you more tempted by? If you want to see more on any of these, I've done a full 1-month review of the Pixel 6a. I've got in-depth unboxings live of the 7 and 7 Pro. Full reviews will be following soon. Please do poke, subscribe and ding that notifications bell for more on the latest and greatest tech, and have yourselves a really wonderful rest of the week. Cheers everyone, love you.